Well, it's now been 5 months. 5 months since President Trump announced his refugee program for South Africans suffering from unjust racial discrimination. When the program was announced with his executive order on the 7th of February, it talked about South Africans and Afrikaners in particular suffering unjust racial discrimination. My immediate response on the 7th of February, when I broadcast just a couple hours after he announced it, was that my expectation and my hope was that it would include racial minorities or ethnic minorities. In fact, on the 10th of February, the U.S. Embassy in South Africa listed ethnic minorities as part of those who would be eligible for the program. Then the U.S. government went silent for some time. This allowed the lazy, useless South African media and so-called journalists to prattle on about farmers and whites. And then, of course, the narrative became it's racist because only white South Africans can go to the U.S. Of course, I said all along that that's probably nonsense. And of course, as with most things on this program, most of my analysis, I was proven to be correct. But the problem with irresponsible media is that irresponsible media's narratives stick. It's now been 5 months since that announcement and a full 2 months since the refugee program opened up where South Africans could use a statement of interest to apply for the program. 5 months and 2 months. Yet South Africans are still running around telling each other that this is a program for farmers or that it's for white South Africans or it's an Afrikaner refugee program. That's poppycock. That's balderdash. And I've said so for months. This is a legacy of fake news reporting, of lazy, useless so-called journalists in the U.S., in South Africa, who lie about this program. Even yesterday, Reuters was still running stories, lying about the program, getting it factually wrong. These are supposed to be journalists. They get paid to report the news? No. They're propagandists, and they're spreading misinformation. Here we are months later, people still don't know the truth because they're getting fake news from these sources. And this is a hazard of the media. They have a responsibility, a moral and legal responsibility to report news. If they want to give analysis, it must be clearly labeled analysis and opinion. But most of the media have been reporting their opinions because they're lazy. It's very easy to check the facts in these stories, very easy to get this right, but they're too lazy to get it right. And it's annoying. And frankly, 5 months after the fact, if you can't figure out that this program is for South Africans suffering from unjust racial discrimination, and know for a fact that Indians and coloreds have also applied for this program, and that's the reality. But lazy journalists, lazy media in the U.S., in South Africa, and around the world, pushing a political narrative. These are people who should be sanctioned for their actions, lying to the public, misleading them. And for South Africans, it's your own fault. Get informed and stop believing the nonsense you find in fake stream media. Listen to people who know what they're talking about and do your own research. Simple as that.